I'm going to show you guys how I made my oven baked shrimp bowl. We're going to need some seasonings. We're also going to need some garlic. We're also going to need some onion. I'm going to boil my potatoes for 15 minutes. And after the 15 minutes, I'm going to add in my corn to cook for 5 minutes. Once it's done, I'm just going to drain. I'm going to add some seasoning to my shrimp along with the onions and garlic, and I'm going to mix it. I'm going to add some seasonings to my potatoes, sausage, and corn. And I'm also going to add some lemon juice. I'm just going to add in everything into the bowl. I'm going to add in my corn, my potatoes, my shrimp. And I'm also going to add in 2 slices of lemon and as much butter as you want. I'm just going to close it because I forgot my sausage. So I added my sausage in and I baked it. To go along with this, I made some cilantro lime rice. And I just added everything to my plate. I added the potatoes, the corn, the shrimp, and the sausage, and this is how I made my shrimp bowl. Hope you guys try this recipe. Follow me on everything. Adios. I'm going to show you guys how to make some delicious chicken, steak, and shrimp surf and turf fajitas. I'm going to start off by seasoning my meat with onion powder, garlic powder, salt, black pepper, cumin, paprika, and chili powder. I'm going to add this to all 3 of my meats along with some olive oil. I'm going to let it marinate for about 30 minutes. And next, I'm going to heat up my skillet and I'm going to add in my onions and my bell peppers. And I'm going to saute them, and once you're done sauteing your vegetables, they should look like this. And I'm also going to do a jalapeno pepper. Next, I'm going to add in my steak. I'm going to let that cook until it's completely done. I'm going to take out my steak and then add in my chicken. I just removed my chicken and sliced it, and I'm also going to cook the shrimp, but I'm going to add some butter to the pan. Now I'm going to put together my fajitas, and I paired this with some cilantro lime rice and black beans, along with some pico de gallo and some mozzarella cheese. And I drizzle over some Mexican crema, and this is how it came out. Hope you guys try this recipe. Adios! I'm going to show you guys how to make flavorful, delicious camarones. We're going to need 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of lemon pepper, a half a teaspoon of onion powder, a half a teaspoon of black pepper, and a half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of butter to my pan, along with some lemon juice and lemon zest. I'm also going to add 1 tablespoon of olive oil. I'm just going to add the seasonings to my shrimp and cook my camarones. And once they're done, this is how my camarones came out. They were so flavorful and delicious. I hope you guys try this recipe. I'm going to show you guys how to make the best fish tacos. In a bowl, I'm going to add some flour, baking powder, onion powder, garlic powder, salt, cayenne pepper, paprika, and some black pepper. I'm going to mix my dry ingredients, and then I'm going to slowly add in some water and mix it until my batter looks like this. Here I have some pieces of cod. I'm going to add that into my batter. I'm going to place all my fish in and mix it all together. And into my medium hot pan of oil, I'm going to add my fish in. You want to have your oil on about medium heat because you do not want to burn your fish. I'm going to cook my fish until it's done and until it's golden brown like this. I'm going to fix my taco with some delicious toppings. I'm going to add some slaw. And I'm also going to add some salsa tiquera that I made, and it's also on my channel. And this is how I made my fish tacos. Hope you guys make this. Adios! I'm going to show you guys how to make a delicious California burrito. First, I'm going to start off by marinating my meat. I'm going to add some onions, garlic, and lime juice to the blender. I'm going to blend it, and then I'm going to add it to my meat. I'm also going to add some cilantro and some jalapenos. And I seasoned it with onion powder, garlic powder, cumin, chili powder, chicken bouillon, salt. And I'm also going to add some beer and olive oil to my meat, and I'm going to let it marinate for about an hour, or you can marinate your meat overnight. Next, I'm going to cook my meat once it's done marinating. I'm going to heat up my flour tortilla. I'm going to add a layer of cheese and meat, along with some fries, some frijoles, some rice, some avocado salsa, some guacamole, pico de gallo, and I'm going to roll my burrito up like this, nice and tight. I'm going to add on some cheese sauce that I made, and I'm going to top it off with some pico de gallo and some more avocado salsa. And this is how it came out. And comment if you want the recipe to the cheese sauce. Hope you guys make this recipe. Adios! This is how I made my delicious chile rellenos. I'm going to start by placing my poblano peppers on a pan, and I'm going to rub some oil on them. I'm going to place them in the oven at 450, and I'm going to let them cook until they have blistered up. While that's cooking, I'm going to start on my salsa. I'm going to add 2 tomatoes, some onion, 1 serrano pepper, some garlic, and I'm going to add all of these ingredients to my blender, including cilantro, chicken bouillon, salt, and some cumin. I'm going to place my peppers in a container so that they can sweat. and that I can easily remove the skin. Once I blend my salsa, I'm going to pour it in my pan, add a little bit of water, and stir it and let it simmer for about 1 to 2 minutes. Once I peel my poblano peppers, I'm going to stuff my peppers with cheese and I'm going to dust over flour. I whipped my egg whites, folded in my yolk, and added 2 tablespoons of flour, and then I fried it. And this is how my chile relleno came out. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Follow me on everything. Adios. I'm going to show you guys how I put together my chile relleno burrito. I warmed up a flour tortilla and added cheese to it. I'm also going to add some beans and some cilantro lime rice. And then I'm going to place on my chile relleno that's stuffed with cheese. And I'm going to add some homemade salsa. I'm going to roll up my burrito. And this is how it looks inside. It was super cheesy and delicious. And I already posted me making my chile rellenos on my channel, so you can go and watch that. Hope you guys try my recipes. Follow me on Instagram, YouTube, and share this video. Adios! I'm going to be showing you guys how I made my easy and delicious cheesy garlic bread at home, and it's so simple to make. For the ingredients, we're going to be using 1 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour, 3/4 teaspoon of instant yeast, a half a teaspoon of salt, and 3/4 cup of water. We're going to add our yeast to our flour, and we're also going to add our salt to the warm water. And I'm going to let that sit while I mix my yeast and flour together. And I'm just going to give that a mix, and then I'm going to give the water and the salt a mix to make sure that all the salt is dissolved. And if you need more salt, just sprinkle salt on top of your bread. But yeah, you don't want to oversalt your food. So yeah. So I'm going to gradually add in my water a little at a time to hydrate my flour. And you might need a little bit more water depending on how your dough is. Maybe about 2 tablespoons more of water. I added a little bit more water to my dough so that all the flour was hydrated. So yeah, just slowly add in your water, and if you need more, just slowly add it in, maybe about 2 tablespoons. So once my dough is hydrated, as you see here, I'm just going to mix it to make sure all the flour is hydrated. And once I do that, I'm just going to sprinkle some flour onto my surface, and I'm also going to sprinkle some flour onto the top of the dough because the dough was sticky. But when you start working the dough into the flour a little bit, then it becomes less stickier. And yeah, so I'm just going to work my dough a little bit, and you can see it becomes less stickier, and you could just work this dough without any flour eventually, because yeah. So I'm just gonna work my dough, and this dough is really soft. But like I said, if you guys want to double this recipe, you can. It'll make more bread, more delicious bread, and yeah. And look how soft this dough is, and it's so easy to work with. But I'm just going to get my glass bowl. I'm going to add a little bit of oil, and I'm going to put the oil all around the bowl so that the dough doesn't stick and it rises without sticking. So I'm just going to turn the dough and the oil until it's moisturized with the oil. And I'm just going to cover it with plastic wrap, and I'm going to let it sit in a warm place. Like, I set it inside of my oven, but my oven wasn't on. I just turned my oven on warm, and then I turned it off. I turned my oven on warm for about 3 minutes or 2. And yeah, I turned my oven off, and then I placed my dough in there, and I let it rise for about an hour or until it has doubled in size. So while my dough is rising, I'm going to put together my garlic butter sauce. I'm just going to add about 3 tablespoons of butter, 2 garlic cloves, and I didn't have any Italian seasoning, but this recipe is called for Italian seasoning. So I just put some Mexican oregano, some marjoram, and a little bit of garlic powder, and I set it to the side. Once my dough was done rising, I uncovered it and I pulled the dough from the sides of the bowl, and as you can see here, the dough is super soft and very easy to work with, as you can see here. And so now I'm just going to bring over my pan that I will be using. I already greased my pan. You want to make sure you guys grease your pan, the bottom and the sides. You want to make sure your dough does not stick. And yes, this pan was too big for my dough, but I made it work. Like I said, you can double the recipe. I'm just going to stretch my dough, and then once I do that, I'm going to poke holes in my dough, but I'm not going to go all the way through and poke holes at the bottom. I'm just going to poke holes on the top lightly, making sure I do not poke the bottom of the dough. Next, I'm going to add my garlic butter onto my dough, and I'm going to cover my dough in this butter. And I left a little bit in the bowl to pour over top when it's done. And yeah, you just want to make sure your dough is covered with this butter. Next, I'm going to go in with my shredded mozzarella cheese. You guys can either get the block and shred it like I did, or you can get the mozzarella shredded, pre-shredded at the store, but I suggest you shred your own cheese. It's better. So I'm going to use this butter a little bit more to put some on the sides of the dough, and I'm going to, I already have my oven preheated to 450, and I'm going to bake this for 15 minutes. But if you double this recipe, you're probably going to have to bake it longer. And I'm going to add some color to my dough or to my bread. I'm just going to sprinkle over some parsley, and I'm going to let it bake for 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, this is how my bread looked. I'm going to let it cool off for about 10 minutes. And then I'm going to remove it from the pan, and I'm going to cut it into small pieces. And yeah, this bread was so delicious, and it was just so good. And you can add as much cheese as you want. The more cheese, the better. And it will be super cheesy. So I'm just going to cut my dough into the sizes that I want them to be. And this dough will have your house smelling so delicious. And it was super cheesy, soft, and fluffy. And it was so easy to make. Everyone will love this recipe. But yeah, after that, I'm just going to add the remaining of the garlic butter onto my garlic cheesy bread. And yeah, hope you guys try this recipe. Don't forget to subscribe, follow me on Instagram. Adios. I'm going to show you guys how I made my honey buffalo glazed chicken sandwich. I'm going to start off with 2 cups of flour, seasoning. I'm going to use 1 cup of buttermilk, some ranch seasoning. I'm going to pour the buttermilk onto my chicken breast. I'm also going to add half of the ranch and half of the seasoning. And I'm going to mix that and let it marinate. I'm going to add the rest of the seasoning and the flour except the ranch. Now I'm just going to make my honey buffalo glaze. I'm just going to add some hot sauce, butter, honey, and lemon juice. Now it's time to fry. I'm going to dip my chicken into my flour batter and I'm just going to fry it until it's golden, crispy, and done. Now I'm just going to add the glaze to my chicken. I'm going to add some ranch to my toasted bun and some jalapenos. I hope you guys try this recipe. Follow me on everything. Adios. I'm going to show you guys how I made my delicious tortitas de papa y queso. For the ingredients, we're going to need some potatoes, pepperoni, mozzarella cheese, salt, black pepper, chicken bouillon, cilantro, panko, and some eggs. I'm just going to boil my potatoes for 15 minutes. Once it's done, I'm just going to mash them down. I'm going to add in my mozzarella cheese, my pepperoni, my salt, pepper, and chicken bouillon. I'm also going to add my cilantro, my chiles, and I'm just going to mix everything until it's well combined. I'm just going to mix my eggs and add 4 tablespoons of water. Now I'm just going to get my measuring cup and measure out my potato mixture, and I'm just going to form it. I'm going to dip it in my egg and then in my panko, and then I'm just going to do that process again. But this is optional to double dip it in panko and egg mixture again. But I'm just going to fry it until it's golden brown. And I'm going to garnish. I'm just going to serve it with salsa verde and sour cream. I hope you guys try this recipe. Adios. This is how I made my delicious guisado burrito. To my ground beef, I'm going to add some black pepper, cumin, and some chopped onions. And I'm just going to mix it really well. I'm going to add all of my meat into my pan, which has oil in it. You guys can use your favorite oil. But I'm just going to mix my meat until it's cooked. I set my meat to the side. I'm going to blend up some roasted tomatoes and garlic and some guajillo chiles that's been soaking. In warm water, I'm going to add in my pre-cooked potatoes along with the sauce, some chicken bouillon, and Mexican oregano. I'm going to mix it together, and this is how it turns out. It was super flavorful and delicious. But here I have my tortilla that I heated up. I'm going to add some homemade frijoles, some Mexican rice, mozzarella and Kobe jack, pico de gallo, de guisado, sour cream, and I'm just going to roll up my burrito and place it in my pan that has butter. And this is how my guisado burrito came out. I will post a video on this recipe. Follow me. Adios. I'm going to show you guys how I made my loaded cheesy potatoes with a creamy shrimp sauce. I'm going to start off by removing the inside of my baked potato, and I'm going to add a whole stick of butter, and I'm going to mash that with my potato masher. I'm going to add in some heavy cream cheese, and I'm going to mix that with my blender until it's smooth. I'm going to add in some sour cream and mix that. I'm also going to add in some mozzarella cheese, and I'm just going to mix that. I'm going to add in some salt and some pepper. And I'm just going to mix that, and I'm just going to stuff my potatoes with the filling. And once I stuff my potatoes, I'm just going to top it off with cheese and place it in the oven to bake. For my shrimp sauce, I'm going to cook my shrimp in some butter. Once it's done, I'm going to remove it and add in the onion and garlic. I'm going to mix in some heavy cream, Parmesan cheese, and add the shrimp back. I'm going to add some chicken bouillon, parsley, some lemon juice. I will be posting a video with all the measurements. If you guys make this, follow me. Adios. I'm going to show you guys how I made my easy honey buffalo chicken wraps. I'm going to start by adding jalapeno juice to my chicken, or you guys can use pickle juice. Here I have 1 cup of buttermilk. I'm going to add 1 egg to that, along with some hot sauce. I'm just going to mix that together. To my flour, I'm going to add in my seasoning that I have not released for you guys yet, but is coming soon. After my chicken has been marinating for about an hour, I'm going to dip it into the buttermilk mixture and then into the flour. I'm going to lay it out on my pan. And to check your oil to see if it's ready, you can sprinkle in some flour, or you can use an uncoated wooden spoon. But I'm just going to add my chicken, and I'm going to cook it for about 9 minutes. And once it's done, I'm going to take it out. I'm going to heat up my tortillas. I use spinach ones, but you guys can use the regular ones. And I'm also going to do a full video on the measurements. I'm going to dip my chicken in my honey buffalo sauce. I'm going to add the chicken to the tortilla with cheese and the vegetables. And this is how my wraps came out. I hope you guys try this recipe. Follow me. Adios. I decided to make some shrimp ceviche, and I'm going to show you guys how I did. First, I'm going to start off by squeezing all of these limes. In total, I squeezed 14 limes. I'm just going to squeeze my lime juice and set it to the side. Next, I'm going to cut 2 pounds of shrimp into small pieces. I'm going to pour over the lime juice, salt and pepper, mix that together and leave it in the refrigerator to sit for an hour and a half to 2 hours. Once I take it out the refrigerator, this is how it looked. I added tomatoes, cilantro, purple onion, cucumber, mango, and 1 jalapeno. And I'm just going to mix this together, and it looks so pretty and colorful. I let it sit in the refrigerator for about another hour. I'm just going to add some sour cream to my tostada. You guys could use marinades. I'm going to add my shrimp ceviche, some avocado, and this is how my shrimp ceviche came out. Make sure you guys try this recipe. Follow me. Adios. I'm going to show you guys how I made my cabbage slaw for my shrimp tacos. If you guys haven't seen the video, make sure you go watch it. Here I have some cabbage. I have 1 tomato, 1 jalapeno, purple onion, some cilantro, and I'm going to add all of this into the cabbage, and I'm going to pour over some lime juice along with a half a teaspoon of salt and a half a teaspoon of black pepper. I'm going to mix this together really good, and this is how it looks at this point. I'm just going to add over some plastic wrap and let it sit in the refrigerator to marinate in its own juices, or the lime juice, for about an hour to 2. And make sure you guys go check out the link for the glass bowls that I use. I hope you guys try this recipe. Follow me. Adios.